a lot of problems with MARPE and palatal expanders in general. The first things that most or pretty much none of these doctors or dentists or whatever orthodontist you do is they don't understand, first of all, the aspect of fascia. They don't understand non-native EMF. They don't understand how heavy metals affect the body, and they don't acknowledge that in their treatments, regardless what treatments you're getting. But now talking about MARPE, you have the EMF jump conduction, which you're getting directly to very, very close to your brain, which again is going to affect you in every way. So EMF jump conduction is that the simple explanation is that any type of metal works as an antenna for EMF, for non-native EMF. And if you don't know about non-native EMF, I would recommend you go watch the YouTube video I have on that. So metal works, or most metals works as an antenna. Of course, there's some nuance and some details that go into it, but the general guideline is you should avoid all metals on your body, in your body. That's the same thing with the jaw surgeries. If you're putting any type of metal or similar type of metal, there will be EMF jump conduction, which is going to affect you extremely badly. And there's, of course, no mainstream studies on that because it's hard to study. But if you would ask anyone that has that, they will definitely tell you that their energy dropped, their health in general was affected, they have more brain fog, and yeah. So that's the EMF jump conduction aspect. And then you have the heavy metals. Of course, it's not the biggest problem, but there's going to be heavy metals leaching from the material used with the MARPE. And then second of all, of course, depends on the exact one you do, but most of them, they literally drill a hole into your skull. And none of these orthodontist or dentist or whoever you're going to have no idea about how the fascia works. So you cannot sew together the fascia. So if you're doing any type of surgery, that is going to affect your fascia, and you cannot sew together the fascia. So you're going to have permanent damage in regards to that. And then another aspect in regards to the MARPE is that there's literally mainstream studies. First of all, it enhances asymmetry, which even the MARPE gurus admit and talk directly about, but it creates asymmetries. So that's another aspect of it. From all the depth research I've done in regards to palatal expanders, another aspect of it is also the orofacial myofunctional habits, which is going to be heavily affected by the MARPE. So in my opinion, there are a lot of better options in regards to palatal expanders. Can I get some benefits of the hot bath from a hot shower if I don't have the hot tub? No, definitely not. Another aspect of in general exposure and using baths, like even in the ocean, but also the hot springs and the hot baths. Of course, the hot baths and the hot springs you should be careful with, and that shouldn't be a full general guideline. But the ocean is anyone can do that. You're getting the Faraday cage. So we talked briefly, or I talked briefly about the non-native EMF aspect of all of this. When you're in the water, you're getting the natural Faraday cage, which is shielding you from non-native EMF while you're getting native EMF. You're grounded, and the most effective grounding environment as well. And there's some other aspects to being on the beach and being in water. So that's a net positive, and I can say as a general guideline, if you can, that's always going to be beneficial. So I'm reading through some questions here. Should we do cold showers or not? No, as a general guideline, definitely not. How should I go about step by step fixing flat feet? So he's saying diet, sleep, lifestyle, grounding, barefoot. Yeah. So in regards to the flat feet, the diet aspect is not going to fix the flat feet directly. The main thing in regards to the flat feet is everything in regards to fascia. So what you need to start off doing in regards to fascia, I'll be having a YouTube video explaining more in depth the phases and the levels of fascia, which is extremely important. But you need to undo damage done. So regaining foot functionality, and also implementing the aspect of the toe spacers, which is also undoing damage done, as in compression that's come in from years and decades of wearing modern footwear. And then the aspect of mitigating and avoiding damage with using barefoot shoes, being barefoot, and then the foot functionality exercises, very, very important. And then learning how to put fascial tension and the aspect of that. And once you progress to level 2, most people will see height gains and a lot of improvements in regards to the flat feet. And that's why say it's so important how you do these things, and that you do these things in the correct order. Because many of you guys have probably seen the aspect of Goda, and I made a video explaining why that's not the correct approach, how it's presented online, because you're trying to just copy the form without the underlying function that needs to support it. So what they're actually saying, most of it is correct, but it's done in the wrong way, in the wrong order, and it's done fully in a way that copies the form. And without doing things correctly, again, it's not going to be permanent at all. So the only way, the only proper way to do it is through the fascia aspect. And there's no, like, all these, I see a lot of, or I get sent a lot of these videos on Instagram, like these mainstream strength coaches that do these bullshit band exercises to fix your flat feet. If you have higher than room temperature IQ, you understand that that's literally just a 10-second solution that goes away the second you stop doing it. So that is just a band-aid fix, completely garbage. Does pretty much direct harm. What other questions do we have? What are the best places to look for fascia training? So go on my YouTube. I have multiple videos in regards to that, and you should consume everything I have in regards to the fascia aspect. And for example, the video I made, I can't remember exactly what the name was, but I think I spent a full day with a client helping him grow taller. That video, where I'm in person with my client Akup, showing him multiple exercises in regards to the fascia aspect, and then explaining some of them, and then showing some of them. And it's easier for you guys to understand and see in real time how it actually works. But in regards to the fascia aspect, again, there's so much misinformation about it on the internet. There's multiple problems with it, but what I'm going to be explaining in that next video that comes very soon is that the order you do things in is so extremely important. I cannot emphasize it enough, because a lot of what you guys see online, some of the things are actually somewhat correct and can be usable, but it's not going to be applicable for 99% of people, because you are not at that level, you are not at that phase. You should not be doing the same exact things as me, and I should not be doing the same exact thing as you, because we are at completely different stages of the journey. I did things different 4 years ago than I do now, because I progressed past that level. And there's a lot of these guys that do try to combine the biomechanics work and the fascia work. It's just horrible to look at, because first of all, they're barely they're at level 1, phase 1 of the fascia work, and then they start doing level 3 similar type of work, even though that's not fully correct either. And then that is going to create, in most scenario, neurological harm. And for many people, it can go as far as it creates full-on injuries, go as far as it creates ACL tears. And it's just ridiculous that to me, that these guys come in and start talking about fascia, and then while they're experimenting themselves, they have no experience at all. They just found out about it, and then they start teaching other people. It's just, yeah, it should be illegal pretty much, because the people that are giving out these advice, of course, they might have the right intentions of trying to help people, but the problem is that these aspects, generally speaking, in regards to health, is so, first of all, so important, but there's so many nuances to it that you have to be very, very careful with general guidelines and free information. Of course, most free information out there, even in the natural Looksmaxxing space, is complete garbage. And then most of you on this call probably already understand that the unnatural aspect of the Looksmaxxing space is, of course, complete garbage. You have to be very careful with free information and general guidelines. Even the information I put out there is still general guidelines that might not be applicable for you. That's the thing here. And that's why the aspect of a full assessment analysis and an individual plan is so extremely important. Many of you guys on this call are probably between 16 to 23. And if you haven't already realized, the most important fucking thing in your life is your health and your appearance. And those are obviously correlated in pretty much every single way. So no amount of money, no amount of status or fame in any way will ever be able to compensate for for nature's intended attraction mechanism. So I can tell you that I've had money for a long time, not billionaire status, not in any type of way, but I've made a lot more money than the average person for a long time. I can pretty much do whatever I want, and I can tell you the difference between when I only had the money but without the appearance, just the treatment from people in general, but especially the aspect most of you guys are optimizing for is towards getting a partner and a wife. It's literally night and day. And this, of course, the aspect that was pushed so much in 2022, 2023, the whole red pill stuff is pretty much complete garbage. Because when I would recommend all of you guys go watch the video I have on YouTube, why every entrepreneur must be Looksmaxxing. Because again, this is nature. This is how things were intended to be. Health and looks and appearance in general to be correlated. Both genders attraction mechanism coming from your appearance, because that again reflects how healthy you are, and we naturally want to reproduce with healthy human beings. So no amount of money, status, nothing will be able to cope for the fact that your appearance is not how it should be. If you're between the ages of 16 to 23, which most of you are, you have to fucking realize that the urgency that you need, you have a golden opportunity now to maximize that last stage of development. And I'm not saying after 23 it's impossible, but it does become, or in general in your 20s, it does become substantially harder. So you guys that are out there being frugal about some measly couple of thousands of dollars to fix the most important thing in your life, that's just beyond me. And if you haven't realized already with all the black pill stuff and the Looksmaxxing stuff, I'm not saying I agree with everything, but the message below that you need to optimize your appearance with your looks and your height, that being the most important thing, yes, million percent, because that's again going to be correlated to how much money you make, your career in general, how people treat you, how your dating life is, if you actually manage to reproduce. Because the reality is that a lot of you on this call even are not going to get to that point. That's how brutal the reality of the society we live in actually is and have become. And things are just getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So the guys at the top take everything. And again, if you're on this call and you're optimizing to make a lot of money, I'm not saying don't optimize everything. You should be doing that, but you have to understand the importance of everything, the importance of what actually makes a difference. It's just beyond me that some of you are frugal with the most important aspect of your health, of your life, which is going to determine your whole fucking future. I have a question about my hair and scalp health, also dandruff, and I don't do any shampoo for weeks now, and I don't understand how I have this issue. So, first problem with this question is that there's not enough input to see change. A couple of weeks is not a lot of time. So, in general, you guys need to be patient with whatever you're doing. That's a problem with the whole looks maxing and black pill space, is that everyone is pushing these quick solutions. I heard that saying, there's no such thing as free lunch. That is so real. Any quick solutions you're trying to do is going to come with negative consequences. So you have to actually put in the work. That's the reality. You have to do what it takes. But the problem for a lot of you guys is that, first of all, you don't even know what to do. And then second of all, you don't have the mindset necessary to do what it takes. That's why I'm so extremely selective with who I allow into my program. And that's why we have such a high percentage of guys actually transforming themselves, growing taller, and fixing aspects that they wanted to fix. Because I have set up things in a way that, yes, you might have the money ready to join my program. Yes, you might have the money ready to join my most expensive packages. But if I don't believe that you would actually transform and you would actually get me a testimonial or transformation proof, I'm not going to allow you to join. Simple as that. Because it's so important for me as well. I don't necessarily need your measly couple of thousands. I make money with my other businesses, and most of my revenue comes from the 7, 8, 9 figure entrepreneurs which I coach in person. So I don't work with people that are, to say it straight out, I don't work with retards. So if you're not going to do what it takes, I would not allow you into to my program. A lot of people do not have the mindset necessary to do what it takes, and then they just resort to the quick fixes, and then they bear the consequences of that. That's the unfortunate reality of how things are portrayed on social media. Everyone is looking for quick fix, quick fix. Everything has to be quick, quick, now, now, now. I'm 17 and I've been 5'7" for the last year while drinking 2 to 3 liters of raw milk every day. Why am I not growing? Again, back to the exact same point which I mentioned. Do you think drinking raw milk alone is going to be enough input to really maximize your potential? Ask yourself that question. Is that it? So if everyone just started drinking raw milk alone, that was everything? No, obviously fucking not. Again, you guys have to sit, think, and analyze for yourself. Is the input I'm actually inputting to see the results I'm looking for, is that enough? And even just that, you understand that is not enough if you really want to maximize your potential. So of course, there's so many details and nuances to every single person and every single situation. But obviously, you're just drinking raw milk. That is not alone going to be enough to transform you, unless you have insane fundamentals, which pretty much none of us has in the modern toxic world we live in. So what else should you implement? You should get started watching my YouTube videos and implement what is that. You should start listening to the voice note in the public Telegram channel. There's a lot more that go into it than just drinking raw milk. And that's why the iridology aspect is so important. For example, I have one of my clients that the iridology is spotted in regards to the pineal gland, and he was able to, in the expected issues document, to say that he did not grow to the point he was supposed to. And he confirmed that afterwards. He was shorter, way shorter than his father, and that was correlated to something in regards to the, or part of the reason was correlated to something in regards to the pineal gland. So that's the depth we go into with the assessment analysis in general, and of course the iridology aspect, which is so unreal. Once you've gotten your reading done, you realize how insane it actually is, that someone can actually see these issues just from your pictures of your irises and palms alone. It's just unreal. Um, and again, it might be hard to understand that that's actually possible, and a lot of you probably don't believe me when we make these YouTube videos, but I posted so many testimonials in the public Telegram channel, and I wish there was more guys in my coaching that were comfortable doing that. And another aspect of this is that a lot of the issues that are found in the iridology analysis are so, and the expected issues document is so private that they obviously will not be comfortable sharing that. For example, in regards to the reproductive organs and stuff like that, that is often some of the more crazy stuff, which I of course understand they're not comfortable sharing. But yeah, it's just unreal, and I'm of course going to start pushing, already pushing hard, but pushing the iridology aspect more and more, because it is so unreal. And it's so extremely needle moving if you want to optimize, because a lot of you guys have underlying health issues that needs to be sorted before you can actually maximize your looks and height. And you will not find the root cause of those issues without the iridology aspect, and that's the unfortunate reality of it. And there is no one on the entire planet that goes in depth like we do. Yes, there might be a few that are able to do something similar in regards to the iridology, but they do not have the depth of knowledge in regards to the fascia aspect and the biomechanics aspect to draw the correlations we draw, to actually set up the plans for the clients. And when they have all of these things involved, there is no better way to do it, and there's no better way to get the individual plan you're looking for and you desperately need if you really want to maximize your potential in regards to your health, looks, and height. Okay, so I'm reading through your questions again. What do you think about electric cars? So in regards to electric cars, if you want to buy a car, of course, it should not be the number one focus, but at least you guys should be aware of it. There's a lot more things you should optimize before you get to that point. But yeah, avoid electrical cars at all costs. When I'm mostly getting driven around, I don't like driving myself. It's better to sit in the back and work. But a lot of the taxis that are the more expensive ones that I prefer are electrical. So I'm pretty much forced to get the cheaper ones that are not electrical because of that exact reason. So if you're going to buy a car, never ever buy electrical cars, because of course you're getting, especially Teslas, you're getting absolutely demolished in regards to the non-native EMF aspect. And when you're in a car, it's a moving object and it's a metal object. And when your phone is not on flight mode and not turned off, what that does is that the signal has to get substantially stronger for the signal to actually go through the thing that is moving in 100 kilometers an hour, plus it has to penetrate the metal. So again, that means that the signal is stronger, and you pretty much somewhat created literal cage of EMF. And then the other aspect is you're having the non-native EMF if you're sitting in an electrical car. So if you're in a car, when I'm in a car, if I'm driving myself with my friends or family, I literally tell them, put flight mode on your phone. You're not allowed to be in my car if you don't put flight mode on. And yeah, in the beginning, when I started telling them that, they say I'm crazy, but I literally said, if you don't do that, just get out of my car. Literally. So yeah, there's a lot of details that go into everything you should be doing in regards to health optimization, looks optimization, and height optimizations. And the details do matter, but you should be focusing on the fundamentals before you implement most of these small details. What about eyes in terms of improving vision? So there's a lot of things you can do for improving vision, but the number one thing you should be doing is optimizing your light environment. So sun gazing, starting off sun gazing, sunrise and sunset is needle moving, and then avoiding damage. More damage is also extremely important. And then also the progression aspect. There's some topical applications you can do, and then also aspects of everything internally in regards to your diet and lifestyle in general is going to be important. But the light environment aspect needs to be fully dialed in, and sun gazing, like I said, important. And I have multiple videos on my YouTube channel in regards to the light environment aspect. Thoughts on protein bioavailability in raw meat. AI says protein from cooked meat is more bioavailable. So the aspect of that is, if you're using AI for with the health optimization, yeah, you're cooked to say the least. Because of course, mainstream or AI is just made from mainstream sources, and yeah, complete garbage. There's nothing else I need to see about that. If you're using it, I don't even need to answer the question. Go watch my YouTube videos, and the AI is, yeah, complete garbage for anything. Google, all mainstream sources pretty much garbage for anything you want to do in regards to health, looks, and height optimization.